at 2. But this is a webinar where I'm going to be imparting lots of wisdom, I hope. So you're very welcome to listen and absorb and take it in and everything like that. You don't have to be on camera, but it is lovely to see Graham. And is that Emika? Is that the correct pronunciation? Lovely to see your face. So faces are welcome, but not a necessity, because for a lot of it, I'm actually going to be presenting slides, and we'll get going from there. Is that the notorious Rob Pope? Hello, Rob. Lovely. Just shared my post and I've just responded. That was very moving. Thank you. I've got goosebumps. Hey, Scott. Lovely to see you as well. Hi, Gail. Damien, lovely to see you as well. Lovely to see everybody. Lovely to see everybody. All these names. I'm going to get started because we have an hour and I want to give you as much value as possible. Smith, Derek. It's the wrong way around, Derek. I know your name's Derek, but I called you Smith. Sorry about that. There we go. Lovely to see you as well. I'm going to get going. So just to let you know what's up and coming. By the way, this is recorded. So if you are meant to be having an affair with someone, but you've shown up for this, just make sure that you're aware it's being recorded as well. And it will go on YouTube. So just so you're aware. So as I say, if you want to stay anonymous, you're very welcome to. Hi, Nikki. Lovely to see you. Lovely to see you as always. Just to let you know how it's going to go, I'm going to impart lots of information. I will pause halfway to let you know about a program I'm running. So you can choose to join us or you can choose not to join us. Either way, it's going to be value-led. I'm going to add loads of value to you, get you to think about things, questions, things within your journey as professional speakers, and then we'll take it from there. So I just want to let you know what's up and coming. If you want to write where you are in the world, what you do, of course, what you are as a speaker, what kind of speaker, please put that in the chat. And please feel free at the end of this call to click on the 3 dots and download it. So please, if you wanted to connect with someone, if someone spoke to you, then feel free to do that as well. So who you are and what you speak about. If you want to put a LinkedIn link, I'm more than happy for this to happen. As some of you know, I also run networking events, so I encourage speakers to support speakers along the journey. So please do that. Before we get going, and as you're doing that, I just want to remind everybody of the Kodak story. Some of you might have heard me tell this before, but I just want to remind everybody because there's some serious lessons we can take from a big empire that was once Kodak. So it was the biggest photography company in the world, period. At its time, no one could touch Kodak for photography. Then what happened is an engineer, and when I tell this on stage, I always make him Cockney, but he wasn't quite. I'm like, this guy called Steve's walks and goes, all right, I've got an idea. Yeah, I've got a digital camera. I don't know why I make him Cockney, and it's a terrible impression of a Cockney, but there you go. For some reason, in my mind, Steve is a Cockney, and he walks into his board of directors and goes, I've got a great idea. Let's move to digital. What happens? They go, you know what, Steve, that's a great idea. Put it under the drawer. Don't do anything with it. And he doesn't, except in 1981, Sony releases their first digital camera. So now Kodak have to pay attention because their biggest competitor, even though they're the biggest and untouchable, their biggest competitor released their digital camera. So what do? They commission some research. They're like, okay, we'll send someone to research our market and our customers. And that's what they did. And they came back with some good and bad news. They said, you're going to have a decade to prepare. That's the good news. You've got 10 years till digital really takes off in the camera world. The bad news is you only have a decade to prepare. So what do Kodak do? They don't do anything. And they decide to invest in technology to produce better printed photos. They were told digital is coming, and they're like, hey, let's make our process of producing pictures even better. So what starts to happen? The market changes. They don't move with the times. And they lost the market completely, right? They lost the market. They lost their customer because they went to other providers who were giving them what they wanted and what they needed. In 2007, they tried to come back. They failed miserably. It didn't work. In 2012, filed for bankruptcy. And now there are these tiny cameras you can get at airports. Basically, they're just in vending machines, mainly disposable. They are nothing like the entity they were. Why do I tell you this? As speakers, what worked before might not work now. So I get this a lot from speakers. I've been booked by Netflix and by these people and by Google, and I've done all these talks. They've dried up. Something isn't working. I'm going to tell you what they are, by the way, so you are aware of that. So please be aware, though, what got you booked 12 months ago, and I know on this call there's some speaker bureaus as well. So if you want to chip in the comments from your point of view, please do, right? What got you booked 12 months ago might not be working now, hence me telling the Kodak story. None of us, I don't think, are as big as Kodak, or maybe you are. However, I want you to be aware that needs change, market change, demands change, budgets change. So maybe before what was getting you booked left, right, and center isn't working. So is it time to refresh things? I want you to think a bit. And remember, you are only as good as your last booking. And this is what I want you to really start to think about. Because when I work with professional speakers on their marketing, on their speaking, there's some key components that you must pay attention to. And that's what I want to share with you today. What is your biggest challenge? Let's put that in the chat quickly in 1 or 2 words. So, and then I'll have a quick read of that. And then I'll share what I see as the biggest challenges, having worked lots with professional speakers, having run, and I'll tell you more about myself, because some of you don't actually know who I am, right? You're new. So hello, I'm Elliot Kay. I'll tell you who I am as well. But I run the Speaker Awards and the Speaker Summit. I train professional speakers. This is all I do. So there's some key elements that I see time and time again, which is why I also put on these webinars to help support your journey. So let's see some in the chat here as well. Securing paid gigs. Yes, that's a biggie. Getting myself onto the circuit. Luxury real estate. Speak about finding success. Maintaining credibility. Sean, is that Sean or Shane? No, Sean, because there's no H, right? Really good. That's a great one. Maintaining credibility, not even gaining, maintaining. I love that. Getting started and getting paid. So a variety of challenges here as well. Let me scroll back, get myself onto the circuit. Brand new to the game. Hi, Andy. Lovely to see you. I need to give you feedback on your showreel. I haven't forgotten. Sorry. I will get that to you. Getting started, getting a gig, so people at various levels here. The good news is what I'm going to share with you works regardless of your level. So if you're starting out, turn on your listening ears. And if you're already established, reopen your listening ears because what I'm going to share with you works across the board, right? And these are things I tend to work with people who are stuck between the 1 to 2K space. I equally work with people that's starting out. And yes, some of my one-to-one clients are 7.5 upwards. Right. So the businesses and the type of speakers I work with, a variety of backgrounds, as you can see. So all kinds of backgrounds. I work with various levels, entities, markets, because it's about certain things that work across the board, right? I don't need to know your industry for this to work. You're the expert. I'm just going to give you the tools to support you with that. So here's some of the common problems I see all the time. You mentioned getting booked for some, it's swirling around here, getting booked, low speaking impact, getting paid. For those of you who sometimes might sell from stage, you don't get the conversions you want, you don't have the time to practice, and of course, unclear brand message. People don't get what you're about, right? And I'll talk about that when I talk about step 1 as well, okay? And not enough quality leads in terms of inbound for you to get booked. You get the whole, I don't know if you must have had this on LinkedIn. Hi, I'm impressed by your profile. We'd love to invite you to be a speaker at our event. We don't pay. You have to pay for yourself. And we expect you to buy a ticket. Give me a thumbs up if you've got that kind of message on LinkedIn. Yes, I see some smiley faces. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. That's their approach. But, we're talking about professional speaking here. So we can do that when we want to build credibility, when we want to get out there. So there's nothing wrong with taking some of those gigs, but not when they dominate your inbound. And there's a common problem to that. And there's a reason for that. Just a little bit about me, just so you know who I am, what I do, who's this person in front of me. Yes, I am wearing the same jacket as in the photo. For those of you who have a keen eye, it's called consistency of branding, according to my stylist, but I won't be wearing it this year at the summit. You'll be happy to know. So I have been in this space literally since 2008. I've built various businesses in this space, coaching, training, strategy. I've spoken throughout this time of being done professional. I sometimes do the whole, when I pay to speak, I've done pay to play. I've done also when I'm invited and I can promote, and I get professionally paid a lot, as in a lot of times. That wasn't a reference to how much I get paid, by the way. I get paid a lot of times, was missing there. So just a little bit about me. I'm the CEO of the Speaker Awards and Speaker Summit, coming into its 4th year. A couple of the judges, one of the sponsors is here as well. Nikki is here, one of the sponsors of the summit. We've got Dom here, who's one of the judges. And I've also a professional speaker. And of course, I mentor and train speaking. And I've written 6 books in total, and 2 of them are bestsellers as well. And that is my little daughter, Rob, who we posted about giving an award out last year. And she'll be there this year as well, handing out the Newcomer Award at the Speaker Awards. So this is what I do. This is day in, day out. I live, breathe, and I have the pleasure of working with incredible people across spectrums. I've worked with people on Dragon's Den. I've worked with people on MasterChef Professional. I've worked with authors, a whole variety of industries. Because as I said, there's some commonalities that I want to share with you. And this stuff works. If you do nothing else with me after this call, please apply. It works. So this is particular Maria, who did work with me, and we tweaked things slightly. And then she pulled in £20,000 worth of bookings as a result of the slight tweak. And then there's Ed here. If you really want to read the whole thing, I'll give you another time. I'm more interested in getting on with giving you the steps. Ed came to me, 4 businesses, all 7-figure turnover, was really struggling with positioning, was struggling to attract the right investors to his businesses. And what we did, again, we tweaked certain elements, which I'm going to talk to you about. And that's how he increased his investment into his business, his speaking, and grew another business called Strive. Right, let's start talking about the nitty-gritty. This is why you're here, right? You want the 7. I've got 7.5 steps, by the way. I know it's promoted as 7, but I've got 7.5 steps for you. So I hope you're okay with an extra half step. Okay, good. Right. The first and the biggest one I want to talk to you about, and the biggest challenge I see with people who are stuck, or who want to get in the game or up their game, is their positioning. Please understand that you are positioning yourself so people with ease can understand what you do, right? So they understand why they're booking you and what you bring to the table. It really doesn't matter how great you are as a speaker at this point. What matters is how good or great you're positioned. So here's the thing. We see this a lot. I'm a mindset speaker. I'm a wellness, well-being speaker. I'm an inspirational speaker. I'm a leadership speaker, right? And that tells the booker, because remember, your positioning is to speak to the booker, no one else. So if you're calling yourself an inspirational, motivational speaker, in their mind, you're up there with Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, right? Or the equivalent, insert the equivalent of. So it's better to be more defined with your positioning, because that will equally get rid of the time wasters. If you're positioned right, people won't approach you for free because they see you're an expert in your field. Now, you can be in the leadership space. So my positioning is in impactful leadership communication. That's where I sit. Leadership, communication combined, right? What I want you to understand and take from step 1 is don't be generic. Make it for the person who's looking to book you to be curious to find out more why to book you, right? Which brings me to the next one. And I think I come up on this next one anyway. Stop selling speaking and start selling the problem you solve for the bookers. Now, of course, bookers works on 2 levels. You have the people that are booking you for a conference, and then there's people booking you for another reason, right? So, for example, if you work with bureaus, they're going to book you on behalf of a client. You need to make it easy for the bureaus to put you forwards to a client. So your positioning needs to do that. And a lot of people skim this part. And everything else is derived from the positioning. So I know there's some of my clients on this call as well. I know I've worked with Andy on this and some people. I always say start with your positioning. When you get your positioning right, then everything else comes out of that positioning. But it's important to spend the time getting the positioning right. So whenever I get that LinkedIn message or I get that email going, Elliot, I was getting loads of gigs, but it's drying up now. The first thing we revisit is their positioning. Remember, I talked about Kodak for those of you who are at the beginning. What worked 12 months ago might not work now. Your positioning that was might not be now, or the market doesn't need it. It doesn't demand it. It's not right. So I would always say, go back to your positioning. Is it telling them what you do, the problem you solve, and why to book you? If it's too generic, by the way, here's the challenge with too generic. You're going to fall into the trap of being haggled on price. Yeah. Because it's like, well, Rob's a wellness speaker and Graham's a wellness speaker and Mizzy's I'm just using names, and Gail's away. And Rob's willing to do it for 500 less than Graham. So would you match Graham's price? But then Gail comes along and goes, well, I'll do it for £1,000 cheaper than those two. But if you're positioned well, and I'll never forget, someone I worked with had great positioning. She was a social media speaker, and she was like, here's my fee. And it was in the four figure five upwards. And like, oh, but we've got other social media, speakers who are willing to do it for this. And she came back and went, but they're not me. Boom. And she got the fee. So positioning is everything. Please, please revisit that. Work on it. For those of you looking to get into the game, those of you starting out, start out with strong positioning. You will stand head and shoulders above the people that don't have. Period. Right? That's one of the key things. Are you with me, people? Give me some thumbs up, even in thumbs up emojis. Great. I'm seeing some smiley faces and some actual thumbs up. So that makes me happy. Next thing, once you get your positioning right, there we go. I'm seeing some thumbs up in the chat. I will come back to questions. Just bear with me, okay? Oh, there we go. Mark Webb Mark. Why is it come backwards? I was part of the team at Dixon, which finished off Kodak. There you go. It's all your fault, Mark. There we go. So the second part I want to talk about is the speaker bio. And this is where people underestimate its importance. Your speaker bio is like your sales agent without an agent. It's what sells you. It's what promotes you, right? And what's important with a speaker bio is to put the important stuff to the front and not the nice to know. So when I introduced myself, I said, I've written 6 books. I can tell you that I've got over 10,000 hours of speaking delivery. I've got treble that in training. That might be impressive in one sense, but to the booker, right? Remember, this is all about the booker, the conference organizer, the bureau, the agent. That is nice to know. That doesn't tell them anything why you should be booked, why you should be chosen. So what's important is the must knows in your bio, the problem you solve, how you solve it, what makes you unique in your ability to solve it. Sure, how many years you spend doing things is important. Sure, achievements, all that is important. So really for those who already have a speaker bio, go back and revisit. Have you got the nice to know or the must knows? And in what order, right? Because often I find people write the bio they like to read, but that's not the bio that's going to get you booked, right? That's not the bio that the person, the agent, the bureau can go, yes, copy, paste, send to client. This is why this person is the right person. Yeah. Bios, please revisit them. They're part of your positioning. So if you've got strong positioning and your bio's weak, guess what? It's a red cross. It's a no from me. It's a no from a booker. Because they'll just move on to someone that does fit the brief, that does work for them, that is well positioned. I can see lots of thinking faces. That makes me happy. I'm going to have a little sip. Give me a second. Now, again, I get for some of you, this is like, I know this stuff. I know this stuff. And a lot of you do know this stuff. I'll come back to you, David, in a second. Revisit. If the bookings aren't coming in, right? There's this thinking emoji. If the bookings aren't coming in, right? What's really important is to look at your positioning. The must knows is the problem you solve, your unique way of solving it, your experience that backs that up, and any sort of achievements around that. Those are the must knows. Maybe next time I'll add them to the slides. Thanks, Jackie. Lovely to see you. Hello. And then what if you're a consultant? David, the same applies if you're a consultant. If you're a consultant that wants bookings, all of this applies if you're a consultant, if you're a coach, if you're a trainer, if you're an author. All of these things apply, right? All of these things apply. This is what I mean. So there's a lot of people that come to me going, look, I don't need help with confidence. Good. And I used to do a lot of speaking. Great. Something shifted with your positioning. The market has moved and you haven't moved with it. This is key. This is what's important here, right? So this is why I want you to rethink about this. Now, for some of you, this is great and it works. For those who I've looked at the speaker awards and things like that, you can see that people have really invested the time to get this right. Yeah, because they instantly, with the language and what's important in there, stands head and shoulders above the rest. I meant how to balance between getting both speaking gigs. Oh, okay. So look, I'm going to talk just about speaking, David. Great question, right? The way you balance it depends. On LinkedIn, on your bio, you can have as a speaker, as a consultant. I'm talking strictly about having a speaking bio. And the reason I would suggest you only have you can also mention in the nice to know part that you also consult, but really it's why to book you as a speaker. So in your speaking bio, that's a nice to know, unless your consulting is pioneering a new tech or it's pioneering a new AI or something that's so innovative that it needs to be in the must know. Last time I repeat the must knows, okay? Must knows. The problem you solve, how you solve it, your unique way of solving it, any credibility around that, and any achievement with that. I'll also send the notes to this out because I'm having it notated, okay? All right, doing good. Lots of thinking faces. So it's your agent. So look at the little things that matter. Details matters. Make sure it's not poorly written. And I, in the past, have been, not anymore. There's no excuses. I'm dyslexic, so writing isn't great. I've known sometimes, not years ago, not anymore, to send a not well written. It will just, they just will disregard you. You're just off. You focus on the wrong stuff, which we've talked about. And of course, leading with a nice no. It's about leading with the must, the stuff that's important. Do you recommend quotes about my speaking? Sure. Put that in your bio, put that on your one pager. Any testimonials, you attach that. You can have it within your bio. You can have it as a separate document. That's another, when you go to bureaus, they will want testimonials to copy and paste. So it becomes a separate section, but you can have a few lines in your bio. Why not? It's a sales agent. Think of it that way. And it helps sell you, right? This is what I've talked about a lot. All right. So you can see me banging on. There's a theme. Key number 3, if you want to up your fees, get those bookings, focus on the problem you solve. People have enough information, period. I can Google anything. I can chat GBT anything, right? But the uniqueness you bring is your ability to communicate the problem you solve, how you solve it, your unique way of solving it. Can you see? A lot of people tell me, I'm a great speaker. I should be booked more. I'm such a great storyteller. I'm inspirational. And I'm not saying you're not, but that's not enough to get you booked. Can you see how I'm trying to flip your paradigm here? I hope that all the 63 people on this call are great speakers. And I know some of you are because I know you personally. But that's not enough for the booker, right? They need to understand the problem you solve, how you solve it, your unique way of solving it, your credibility around solving it. Yeah, there's a theme here. From Belfast to the bedroom, motivating salespeople. There we go. That's a great little positioning there. Motivating people one laugh at a time. See, love that. You get what you do. Boom, right? So please, please, please lead with the problem you solve, right? Because that's what they'll pay for. That's what corporates will pay for. Problem solving. Now, of course, if you're motivational, inspirational, then it's going to be about your story, your adversity. You can still be inspiring and motivating, by the way. Yes, I like to think I am when I speak, but I don't sell myself as an inspirational, motivational speaker. That's not where I am, period. I'm just not. So a lot of expert speakers, a lot of people on the call here today, you're expert speakers, right? You're speaking because you have an expertise, not because you want to tell stories after dinner. It's okay if you want to do that, by the way, but that's a very different positioning, right? So I want you to be aware of that. Cool. So get clear on the problem you solve. Start selling problem solving and not your speaking, even though the speaking is the way you do that. So Juan is, again, someone that he was former military. He came to me very, very stiff, very, very military sounding. And with him, we chiseled him away, right? We softened him, we gave him some different dimensions, but also we positioned him very differently, as you can see here from the right hand side when he spoke. He came to me last year, came back to me because as a result of his speaking, he got pulled to be a CEO of a charity that melts knives taken from the streets into gym equipment. And he was pitching for funding. And so what we had to do with him is quickly tweak and rework his positioning to win the funding. And so we integrated a lot of what I'm talking about, the problem he was solving, how he solved it. But the way we sprinkled the uniqueness was through adding in his story and his purpose behind it. And as a result of that, he did get the funding he was looking for, right? So this is an ever evolving process, which is really important, right? Oh, that's key 3 again. Maybe my key's a bit messed up. Anyway, I'm going to go into it. I have two parts of three apparently. Showreel. Let me talk about showreel a little bit. We talked about your positioning, selling, and we talked about your bio is your agent. Now, your showreel is your visual commercial of your speaking. And I'll say this again, a lot of people design show reels that they like to watch, not the ones that sell you, right? Here's some stuff for you. The first 15 seconds of your show reel are crucial. The next 15 are the next crucial. So what you want to do is front pack your show reel. The first 30 seconds are the most important. Normally, and I've heard this from bureaus' mouths themselves, if they've watched 30 seconds, they will likely to watch the rest. If you haven't caught their attention, problem you solve, your uniqueness, and your speaker style ability within the first 30, normally they don't watch it. I know someone in America, he won't watch more than 15 seconds, period, because he has so many people send him show reels. So think about it. Does the show reel, is your good stuff right at the front? Or are you like, oh, it's going to climax and come at the end? Well, I get that from speakers, and I see a lot of speakers do that. And if it's a cinema show reel, right? If it's a film, I get that because you hooked them, you want people. Show reel is very differently. It's your commercial for you. It needs to sell you, and you need to have the good stuff to the front, right? So that's what's really important when it comes to show reel. I wouldn't shortcut show reels, right? Because if they are forgiving about certain aspects, they won't be forgiving about poor show reel, poor editing, poor footage, all that kind of stuff. Then just people aren't, bookers aren't. They'll just move on, right? So I just want you to be aware of that when it comes to your show reel. Invest the time, invest the money. It sells you, right? And what a lot of people do, they have old footage that isn't relevant. Remember, Kodak moment, that isn't relevant anymore. It's badly edited, right? Old footage, off the phone, bad sound, all these things. Please remember, like, you've got 15 to 30 seconds to catch someone's attention. If it's poorly done, they won't spend more than 4. All right. So it's worth the time and investment. And for those of you starting out, you don't have footage, there's various ways to get it, even if you haven't speaking gig yet, right? There's people that run filming days where you film. I do one of them in September. I know someone else, Joe Frederick does one of them, where you book in, you get a speaking slot, and you get it filmed, right? So there's ways. These days, there shouldn't be an excuse that you can't get it done, but get it done properly. Now, before I get this question, how long should they be? 90 seconds to 3.5, but some are 4.5. Jazz Parfar, who won Speaker of the Year a couple of years running, her show reel is 90 seconds long, but it's 90 seconds of pure gold. Beth Sherman, who won show reel of the year last year, hers is 3.5 minutes. And again, it's what she does with the footage that's very good. It's not great footage, but the way she edited it was great. So those are a couple of good examples for you. Are you with me, people? Are you with me? Yay. Great. Awesome. So I talked about a lot of this. And the other thing, of course, have a show reel, people. If you want people to book you, right? If you want people to book you, they need to be able to see you speak. So get a show reel, right? Can I see them? Sure. Go. Nick's asking, can I see them? Go to Jazz Parfar. Just Google her. And then you've got Beth Sherman. So you just put them on YouTube. You can see their show reels. The next thing I want to talk about is your content, right? So we've talked about your positioning. We've talked about your bio. We've talked about your show reel. Let's talk about your content for a second. LinkedIn is your second website, right? LinkedIn is the show window to your speaking. Of course, you can use Instagram and you can use TikTok. I'm going to talk about LinkedIn because I really only use LinkedIn, and the bookers are on LinkedIn. There might be on other ones as well, right? But what I want you to be aware of is everything you put out there matters. So what you want to start doing, if you're not doing that already, is create content that displays your expertise as a speaker. Now, one of you asked about the balance between your consultancy, and your speaking. So when it comes to content, here's what I say. I post about 6 days a week. I do 5 on Monday to Friday on LinkedIn, and then I have a newsletter. You don't have to do that, right? You can do it twice a week on LinkedIn as long as you do it consistently. So let's say you post 5 days a week as a consultant. What I would suggest you do is start doing 2 days a week on your speaking of those 5, right? Because thanks for that, Dom. Because people need to find you as a speaker. They need to process you as a speaker. So if your positioning's right, they'll want to read. It's Jazz with one Z, Nick. They want to read about you. They want to find out. People now do the research up front. So make sure your content displays your expertise as a speaker. So when I speak about this, when I do talks about this, right? When I was giving the talk about this, things like that, you need to start producing speaking content like that. Also, use videos, right? Use videos that show you speaking, or speak to camera so people get a feel for you. Again, there's no excuse now not to utilize that, right? Even editing these days is better done for social media, by the way. Using things like Opus Clip Scribe, things like that. It will chop, it will transcribe, it will do it for you, right? So please stop doing what doesn't work, right? Which is poorly written bios, bad positioning or weak positioning, no articulation of the problem, and deliver talks that aren't effective. We'll come to delivery later, right? Wrong type of content for the audience. If you know your positioning, you know who your audience is and isn't. I can easily say no to speaking gigs because they're not my audience, and it will waste everyone's time, including mine. And everyone will have a bad experience. And guess what? Your reputation starts to become not very good. Okay, so keep that in mind. Stop doing what doesn't work. We've talked about what does work. I've got 3 more steps to share after this as well. So stay with me. All right. So I'm just going to take a little bit of time right now just to talk about what's up and coming, which is my Inspired Speakers VIP program. So if you do want to join us and come on this ride with me and work with me, this isn't a quick fix. It's a 10-month program where we meet twice a week, twice a month even, every second and fourth Wednesday, that should say. Gosh, Wednesday of the month. And we cover a range of topics. Showreel, we go use your niche and avatar. We do workcast delivery, content website. You can be a speaker at the Inspired Speakers Network. And we want to elevate you as a speaker generally. Then I'd love to invite you to consider joining us. Christina worked with us recently as well. There'll be a link to the program, which has all the terms and conditions, all the dates in there. There's 2 links in there, by the way, where you can book a call in to talk more with me. And of course, if you're ready to go and enroll, you can as well. So Christina did it. She runs a variety of training companies and she wanted to get paid as a speaker. She did the Inspired Speaker VIP program. She got nominated for 2 awards last year as well, and she got her paid speaking opportunities. For her, it was one of the first paid speaking opportunities. So for those who want to get paid, she was on that road to that. We meet twice a month, every second Wednesday and last Wednesday of the month. They're hands-on. The way it works is the first session of the month, we train you. I train you how to do something, and then you go and apply it. And the second session of the month is masterminding how you're getting on with it. There's continuous support through WhatsApp groups and things like that. Everything's recorded, so you never miss out, right? So if you're on that plane, you want to up your fees, you want to get booked, you want to get paid, you've got something to say, I would absolutely love to work with you over the next 10 months. And the reason it's 10 months is because I want it to appeal to people that have, you're busy, but you want to up your speaking game so it's not time taxing and it's not too quick. I've done shorter ones, and what I found is people just get overwhelmed and then they disappear. That's why it's 10 months. All the dates are in the document. If you click in the chat, open it up. It's a Google Doc. It's nothing sexy. It's nothing flashy. It's got all the information on there as well. And so you can have a good read of that. And it's got the terms and conditions and everything on there as well. So that's a VIP program. So it's for you if you've got something to say, a product, or you're an expert, you want more booking and you want to get paid, or even if you want to start, right? You want to be the expert in your space and make a massive impact. Come and work with me for 10 months. And also I'm making it very cost effective, right? And the reason I make it cost effective isn't because I can't charge more. I can charge a lot more, right? It's because I want this to be accessible to as many people as possible. And because I want to be able to put your name there as a testimonial. So the normal price would be and will be after the 25th of May, 1,500 for the 10 months, which again, I think is very accessible. But actually, the price you will see, whoops, the price you're going to see is a lot lower than that, right? So again, these are a couple of people I work with. Someone you might know, Felicity. I work with her again on her marketing, and Gia Lily to get her marketing assets. So Felicity was already speaking. Gia Lily was just starting out, and I managed to again get them their bookings and grow their speaking. So in the link, you'll see the document. You can either enroll straight away if you're ready to go, or you can book a call in with me. As long as you book in a call in with me, you lock in the price that I'm going to tell you, which is basically it's £1,000 for 10 months, right? It's £100 a month. So you pay a deposit of £300 and then £7 payments of 100, or if you pay in full, it's 900. I told you I want to keep it accessible, right? I know Gia personally, and she speaks highly of you. Oh, thanks, David. Right? That is it. So the reason I'm giving you till the 25th and not to the end of today, because I understand you want to think about it. You want to weigh things up. Some of you need to change weddings, shift flights, things like that. So you got 3 days to sit on this. I'm going to email this out afterwards as well. It's £1,000 for 10 months, £100 a month it breaks out. I think that's very accessible. And after the 25th, I go to 1,500 to work over 10 months, twice a month, full of support. Everything's recorded, going through everything we're talking about so far today and more. So open it up, have a read, get it ready for the end of the webinar because I've still got more to go through. I'll do a recap at the end and hopefully there'll be time for questions. How are we doing, peeps? You all right? Good? Awesome. Let's keep going. Sarah is someone I work with as well. Yes, thanks, David. She was more on a mentoring stage. She was a property investor. Again, it was all about positioning her to get booked to speak. So we worked on her purpose and her storytelling. We also worked on her delivery as well as her positioning. She got TED Talks as a result of that. She got paid to speak and she got to speak in front of an investor, which helped grow her business as well. So the link's in the chat, right? Inspired Vickers VIP. So glad to hear some people already telling me they're in. Yay. Woohoo. Just to reiterate, if you're not ready to enroll now, book a call in, right? Good question, Lynn. Sorry about that. The time of the calls are midday every second Wednesday and last Wednesday of the month. I do bring in other experts as and when as well. So it's midday UK time every second Wednesday and fourth Wednesday. If you want to talk to me, I get it. Elliot, I just saw you in a webinar. I just want to talk to you. Book a call in. As long as you book the call in, you lock the price in, right? Cool. Yes, David. Yes, Lynn. Right. Let's talk about key number 5 as well, because as I said, I want to add massive value to you all, regardless of what you do with me moving forwards. Hopefully you'll choose to work. And by the way, I'm not taking more than 12 people. That's the other thing I forgot to say. Here, Jane Lewis is one of my clients. Put a comment in there. It's 6 to 12 people. I don't want big groups. I like the intimacy. I like to be able to be personable with everyone. So that's the other thing I forgot to say. It's only 12 people that I take her time. Up to, by the way. There you go. Jane is in the program. VIP is really good. I'm currently on it, and it's helped me get shortlisted for newcomer of the speaker awards. Woohoo! Right? But I've got to caveat that I'm completely removed from the process. It had nothing to do with me, period. Right? 20, it's not Friday. Okay, sorry, you're right. It's Sunday. Is it Sunday? I got my days wrong. I do apologize, Peter. The date is correct. Is the 25th of May. Tomorrow's Friday. There we go. Right. Key 5. There you go. Good luck, Jane. Let's talk about proactive outreach. Can confirm there are very strict judging criteria for the awards. There you go. That's from Dom, who's one of the judges. When does the program start, Lynn? It starts on the 11th of June. Okay. 11th of June it starts. Every second and fourth Wednesday of the month at midday UK. Right? I want to talk about a bit of proactive outreach because what happens, especially people that tend to stagnate, is they sit there waiting for the bookings. Like, I'm a speaker. Where are my bookings? I should be booked left, right, and center. Where are my bookings? Right? You've got to be proactive. There's very few people who can sit back and let the bookings come in. That's probably the 1% of speakers. Dom, if you want to tell me if I'm correct me or confirm that, There's very, very few speakers that it's this continuous influx. I know that Simon Sinek, you have to make a proposal for him and then he decides if he wants it. Richard Branson, you have to put £250,000 in his bank account for him to consider it, and he takes 6 months to return with an answer. And if he doesn't, he will give you the money back. Of course, he's made loads of interest on it in the meantime, but there's very, very few people that can kind of at that level. So as speakers, we need to be proactive with our outreach. LinkedIn is a gold mine, right, of outreach opportunities. Now, to do it right, to do it in a way that is authentic to you but isn't douchey, that's where you need to think about how you do it. But you've got to put yourself in people's minds. Don't assume that they know you're available. Don't assume that they know that you speak. The amount of times people go, oh, I didn't realize you speak. Not to me, because people can clearly see that. They go, oh, I didn't realize you speak. You need to let people know. You've got to proactively outreach. That means old school calling. Hi, I'm wondering. Oh, I noticed this. That means emailing. That means finding a way to get in front of them, sending videos, whatever you need to do to get in front of them. Do it, right? Because if you're not proactive, if you're not putting yourself out there proactively, then you're relying on someone finding you, inquiring, and booking you. It is a numbers game. Now, you can still show up in a way that's respectful, that is authentic to you, right? But you've got to do the proactive outreach, because actually this industry is relational. It is all relationships. The speaker awards I've built, touch wood, because of great relationships and how I've approached relationship building. A lot of my bookings have come from relationships that I've built. It's not about, it is about your relationships, but it's not about how great you are as a speaker if you're not in people's minds. So it's important you stay. And posting's one way, of course, but then you're relying on people looking at your posts. So half an hour of day dedicating to outreach, putting yourself out there, connecting, jumping on Zoom calls to build relationships. This is what's really important. So yes, I've never, here we go, Michelle said, you're not putting yourself out there, other people are. Right. And that's the other thing. It's a great point here by Michaela. If you're not doing it, someone else is. Right. It's so important. I can't reiterate, and we do a whole strategy around this. But if you're not doing this, half an hour a day, outreach towards building relationships to get booked. And it might not be now, by the way. So don't be disappointed. Like, look, you're not for us right now, Rob. We're not going to book you now. But what you'll find is a year or two later, like, oh, yes, you're right for us now. We want you. So just keep that in mind as well. Okay. Step number 6, right? I can't
Because I
not
lost so
talk
much
about.
money, I don't have the money to invest. But yeah.
There we go. There you are. Thanks, Andy. Here we go. Be a great speaker, right? Now, I talked about from your marketing, it's not enough that you're a great speaker, because unless you're found, but you've got to put yourself out there and be a great speaker. You've got to do a great job when they book you. That's what bureaus want. That's what conference organizers want. Does cold outreach truly work? It does, if it's done correctly. And you need to persevere, and you need to follow up, and you need to do it in a way that is congruent and authentic to you, but in a way that still keeps people in your mind. These days, it's a lot easier to get to people through social media, but cold outreach does work. Yes. I don't put myself out there. How can people meet me? Exactly. Got to do this. Booked my call with you. Hey, fantastic. But be a great speaker. Please don't forget that part. I remember Dan from Leading Authorities last year at the Speaker Summit saying, your delivery is 30% of this whole process, but it's an important 30%, right? You still have to do a great job. Okay. You got to be world class as a speaker. And I know a lot of you are like, I don't need it. I'm confident. I speak a lot. Great. What will help elevate that? Please make that as part of your journey as well. And make sure you've got the complete toolkit. Now, Inspired Speaker VIP, I help you build that. But you've got your show reel, you've got your website, your speaker website. I'll talk about that in a second. Your one pager and your speaker bio. Your speaker website is so important. And it has to be about you as a speaker. And I'll tell you why. Yes, thanks, Amika. Woo. when a booker lands on your website, they want to know A, that you're serious about speaking, you're a professional. If there's other things outside of that, they wonder, right? And they might start clicking. And that way, suddenly they're like, oh, I've been reading their blog, or da, da, da. Oh, and they've forgotten about looking at you as a speaker. So what's important here is your speaker website. If you go to elliottk.com, you will see it's only about speaking. Do I have other websites? I do. Your VIP will help you help improve your speaking, Debbie. So please think about this, because again, speaker bureau, speaker agents, speaker bookers, conference organizers, they want to see you as a speaker. Now they want to land on your website and go, yes, I want to book you. No, I don't. You don't want them clicking around. Make sure it's just about you speaking. And on that website is your show reel, is your bio, is your testimonial, is all these things. Does that make sense? So I just want to take to the importance of that. LinkedIn is your secondary showroom, is your secondary website, but that is important. So again, do you need to review your website? Your showreel we talked about, your one pager, that is literally, in theory, should be one page that has your bio, a good picture of you, testimonial, and your keynotes that you send on to people. That's important, because if you think about decision makers, right, they might be looking at 10 speakers. Now, they're not going to look at 10 links. They'll print them out and they'll go, da, 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 da. Okay, so one page is important. Should you put your book speaker? Yep, I've got my books on my speaker website. Absolutely. It's a huge credibility piece. Yes, is the answer. And your speaker images, if you don't look like you speak, then how can people see you visually or get the picture of your speaking? Again, if you're starting out, have a good picture of you to begin with, but as you start to speak, look for those speaking images. All right. Okay. And last one, key 7.5, which I think I had 2 3s. So technically it's 8.5. You're always selling. Please remember this. Every part of this journey, every step I've talked about is about selling you as a speaker. And the sales never stops. Now, I don't mean in a douchey way, in the sense that what you put on your LinkedIn is selling you. What you send people is selling you. The conversation you have when people want to book you is selling you, right? So all of these things are selling you. How you talk to people is selling you, right? When you show up, how you behave, it's selling you. When you deliver a talk, it's still selling you, even if you've been booked, right? All of these things, please understand you're always selling. And now, of course, you're selling in a way that's authentic and real to you. But what I want you to think about is, don't sit there and go, I'm not in the sales game. You are. You're in the sales, the promotion, the marketing, the delivery game. So please remember that you're always, always selling. Can an audiobook on Audible be a powerful tool for getting speaking gigs? Yes, David, as long as people are listening to it. That's the key. Podcast can be a powerful tool to get speaking gigs, as long as people are listening to your podcast. Do you see? So all these things I want you to consider and think about, right? I've run 2 podcasts. I run Voice for Good and the Public Speaking Expert podcast. I've over 90 episodes of that. People have to be listening to it. That's the key here. People have to reading your book, right? So please remember, you're always selling, regardless. Again, sell that's congruent, that's real to you, that is you. But please understand you are in the sales game. All right. Please understand that is important for you to know that as well. Right. I'll take a couple of questions before I recap that. And also, what are your biggest learnings? What are your takeaway? Oh, thanks, Valerie. What are your biggest learnings? Type them in. I'd love to see. Now, remember, for those of you who want to grab people's details, click on the 3 dots and download the chat. And please only contact people if they give permission. Do not be a spammer. Elliot shared his incredible story. Oh, Susie. Hi, Susie. There you go. There's my story on a podcast. You're very welcome. So what are your biggest learnings? I'd love, love, love to hear. Biggest learning, my website, catch-all, need to specialize. The must-knows. Brilliant. Yay. I can't write as fast as I can share wisdom. Thanks, David. Get on with it. Woohoo. Change. Love it. Really, really love it. A lot of work to be done. Yep. Look, that's the reality of being on this journey, Graham. Yeah, I agree. I wish there was a magic pill. Clear on profile. Good. Nice one, Tara. Really, really great stuff. All right. Cool. We'll keep those coming because I love reading them and seeing stuff. Just a reminder that the VIP kicks off the 11th of June if you're interested. Ellie always shares so much, so generously. Anyone who works truly fortunate. Oh, thank you, Susie. Book my call. Yes. So it is a Wednesday, not a Tuesday. Now, remember why that is. I changed it last week and suddenly didn't change on my slide. So look, if you want to join the program, get the link that's there that Mizzy just posted. If you want to work on all the above, over 10 months in a slowly medium, it's not intense, it's not intensive, it's designed to be slow. Okay. Lovely. I'm looking forward to speaking to you all. And a lot of information, truly amazing. Good. So if you do want to work through your bio, your positioning, your show reel twice a month, every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. If you want things that are applicable, so the first one is the training of the month, and then a mastermind and have continuous support. I'd love to work with you, right? I'd love to. The link is there. Open it up, book a call in. Let's talk. Always great value. Good. If you want to market yourself as a speaker, get booked, get paid more. If you want continuous support, I'm here. You see, this is me, but it would be me in a one-to-one. I mean, in a group, but a small group limited to 12 people, right? So if that's for you, Sergey, lovely to see you. Look forward to seeing you again soon. And of course, if you book before the 25th, which isn't a Friday, by the way, that is true, then you lock in the special price and then it goes up to 1,500, but you get it, as you know, it's £1,000, right, for the VIP. So £100 a month over 10 months, but you do pay an initial deposit and then 7 payments, or you can pay in full, right? You got the details. Any questions about working together? If you have any questions about working together, about the program, let me know and we can have a chat. So do you do bespoke? Yeah, I can do bespoke. Yes, I can do one-to-one. For those of you like, oh, I don't like group programs. I just want you. Yes, I can. So Nick, I think we've talked over email. Just drop me an email. Let's book in a call and then we can go from there. So absolutely, I can work with you bespoke. I do one-to-one mentoring for those of you who I have people that go, I want all that, but I don't want it over 10 months. I want it over 3. So yes, of course we do that as well. Fabulous webinar. Thanks, Nikki. Yay, great to see you. See you at the summit, one of our sponsors. Woohoo. You offer so much. Jam-packed. Oh, thank you. Really nice feedback here, I've got to say. Really value that you keep these groups small and intimate. Yay. Yeah, I don't want a big group. I really don't want a big group. I like to be personable. I like to be approachable. So 6 to 12 people is my go-to, basically. And we'll go for that. You've booked to come to the summit. Woohoo. Yay. Any questions about working together? Or about anything that I covered today? We've got 8 minutes to go. If you want to unmute yourself, if it's easier, feel free to do that.
This is Nick, if you can hear
Hey,
me.
Nick.
Hi, I've got a video being recorded next week, which is 5 minutes at an event. Will that be okay for a show reel, or is that too long, do you think?
I think what you need to do is, I mean, 5 minutes is probably a bit too long, is get the really juicy golden nuggets from that. And if you produce a 90 seconds to 2 minutes out of that, that's fine. I think what's important is the best stuff has to be in there. So if you can, that'd be great. Jane, yes, I do. I'll send you the link. Does that help, Nick?
I'm not going to own the video afterwards. I have to link to theirs. I'm not sure I can edit it, but I'll ask them.
Well, Dominic, who works for Bureau, is saying too long for a show reel. Useful for long term, long form though, so people can see more of your style. There you go. That's from
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about the speaking staff? All working together.
I'd love to work with you, but I'm too poor.
Well, Ginny, if money is the only factor, send me a message and we can discuss various
Are you
payments.
sure?
Yeah,
I'm a stand-up comedian and also performer, and really it's been something I've been one thing I want to do in my life before I die, and that is to clarify, to be a speaker, you know, a bit like because I'm a coach as well and work with neurodiversity.
Okay, well, look, book the call. Let's have a chat. If it's not right, it's not right. But look,
Okay.
let me say this to everyone else. If money is the only obstacle, we can arrange other payment plans. Book the call.
yeah.
Let's have the conversation. Let's have the conversation. I'll believe you. I will tell you if it's not possible.
Because
Okay.
I came in at the end of the call, so I don't know actually what, because I was making some chicken.
Ah, there we go. Well,
Sorry
making
about that.
chicken is very important. So book in the calls and let's have that chat. All right. We take
So
it
I
from
can
there.
watch this on the replay, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'll email it out once I'll put it on YouTube and then I'll send it out to everybody that registered. So
Okay.
brilliant, Ginny. And you, Susie, as well. Book in a call and we'll have that chat.
Can you
All
make
right.
money? Can you make money from this?
From speaking.
Yes.
Yes, you can.
How
With the
much
right, well,
can
you
I
haven't
be a
heard the beginning
millionaire
of the
by
call.
next year?
With the right positioning and the right things, yes is the answer. You're very welcome, Nick. So, Nick, reach out if you wanted to discuss, or you have the other details. You can still book a call through that link. It is working. I've double checked.
Can I ask what the return on investment could be?
Look, I think that's a great question. So, the speaking world is a bit like the Wild Wild West, right? You can get gigs for like £100, and you can get gigs for £10,000. A lot of it depends on
Oh,
your
really?
Yeah, but it does depend on your positioning, your experience, the problem you solve. I think watch the replay because I cover a lot of this.
Sure, no
But
problem.
yeah, look, you can. Are there 10K speakers? Of course there are. The sweet spot tends to be between, and Dom, if you're still on the call, you can between 2 to 5K. But you have to have the assets. You have to have good positioning. You have to have lots of other things to get that right. And there you go. Unlimited returns if you do the work and position yourself well. Get good feedback. So that's from Dom that works with the bureau. So yes, you can is the
Oh,
answer. I'm
Dominic.
not going to promise anybody that, by the way.
Of
I'm not
course,
making
no,
any
I'm not.
promises that you
I'm
will.
not assuming, but I'm just getting a rough idea. You know, if it's been a bit of a pipe dream or if it can be a reality.
No, it can. It can. It all depends on the energy, the time, the space you invest in it, and how dedicated you are. Right. All down to the individual, which is what Dom says as well. Right. So absolutely is the answer.
Who's Dom?
Dom is chatting away in the chat, and Dom works for a very, very big speaker bureau.
Oh, hello, Dom.
There you go. Hi, there we go, Kate. Good. I'll speak to you soon. Right, everyone. If there's no more questions, I will say thank you to everybody that's watched this. Thank you to everybody that's seeing this on the recording. If you haven't booked a call and you want to book the call, that locks in the price. If you want to book a call and talk something else, book in a call. If you want to book on the program, book on the program. Thank you all. I hope you take this, go forth, make an impact, make a dent, go out there, and please make some changes in this world. We need you. David, I'll see you soon, my man. I'll be in touch. Lovely to see you all.
On Monday.
Bye. Yes.
I'll see you at the
See you
Speakers
later.
Awards.
Yes. What about the speaker awards, Juan?
You saw
Oh,
my
you see me?
application, I imagine. But, all right, I'm going to book a call for you with you.
Okay, then, Juan. I will
All
speak to you soon.
See you.
See you later, buddy.
Brilliant.
Bye-bye. Okay. Cool. I see some of you are hanging about. Anybody have any questions they want to ask me while I'm still here? I'll stick around. Yes, David, did you want to ask me a question, my man?